guys. I thought even though we can't have class today, I'd still read you a book. And I thought actually this could be a great time for you to tell your families about the things that you've been learning in our Dr. Seuss class, if you haven't already. If you remember, we've been reading mostly Dr. Seuss stories that are poems, right? Poetry. There's a meter or rhythm. It kind of feels like there's a beat. Maybe there's a song to it. But last week we read our first story by Dr. Seuss that wasn't poetry, and that was prose. Remember, we talked about the differences between poetry and prose. Prose is what you read most of the time. It's a story without the rhythm, a story without the rhyme. But all of the little words that we've been learning about this year, we can find in poetry and prose. What do we call it when the ending sounds of our words sound the same? Rhyme, very good. And what do we call it when the beginning of our words sound the same? That's right, alliteration. Good job. All right, then we also learned about how to compare things when we're writing or reading our stories. If we compare things and we do use the words like or as, what do we call it? Simile. That's right. And what do we call it when we compare things and we don't use like or as? That's right, metaphor. Good job. Last week we learned about, or a couple weeks ago I guess it was, we learned about a word when we exaggerate in our story, when we make our numbers really big, or we make our buildings really tall, or our distances really far, and we're trying to add color or excitement to our story. Now we know nobody's gonna really believe it. They know, the readers of our stories know that this isn't true. We're just trying to add some fun excitement to our story. What do we call that? That's right, hyperbole. Good job, guys. Well, today as we read our story, let's see if you guys can think of or hear any of those things. Alliteration, hyperbole, metaphor, or simile. If you can hear any of those things in our story, I'm gonna read to you from Yertle the Turtle and some other stories. Today we're just gonna read Yertle the Turtle. And I'll try and hold this up so that you guys can see the pictures as I read, okay? On a faraway island of Salamasand, Yertle the turtle was king of the pond. A nice little pond, it was clean, it was neat. The water was warm, there was plenty to eat. The turtles had everything turtles might need, and they were happy, quite happy indeed. Let's see if I can get that picture better. They were, until Yertle, the king of them all, decided the kingdom he ruled was too small. I'm ruler, said Yertle, of all that I see, but I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me. With this stone for a throne, I look down on my pond, but I cannot look down on the places beyond. This throne that I sit on is too low down. It ought to be higher, he said with a frown. If I could sit high, how much greater I'd be. What a king! I'd be ruler of all I could see. So Yertle, the Turtle King, lifted his hand, and Yertle, the Turtle King, gave a command. He ordered 9 turtles to swim on his stone, and using these turtles, he built a new throne. He made each turtle stand on another one's back, and he piled them all up in a 9 turtle stack. And then Yertle climbed up. He sat down on that pile. What a wonderful view! He could see almost a mile. All mine, Yertle cried. Oh, the things I now rule. I'm king of a cow and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house, and what's more beyond that, I'm king of a blueberry bush and a cat. I'm Yertle the Turtle. Oh, marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all I can see. And all through that morning, he sat up there high, saying over and over, a great king am I, until long about noon, then he heard a faint sigh. What's that? Snapped the king, and he looked down the stack, and he saw at the bottom a turtle named Mac, just a part of his throne, and this plain little turtle looked up and he said, "Beg your pardon, King Yertle. I've pains in my back and my shoulders and knees. How long must we stand here, your majesty, please?" "Silence!" the king of the turtles barked back. "I'm king and you're only a turtle named Mac. You stay in your place where I sit. While I sit here and rule, I'm king of a cow and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house and a bush and a cat. But that isn't all. I'll do better than that. My throne shall be higher," his royal voice thundered. "So pile up more turtles. I want about 200. "Turtles! More turtles!" he bellowed and brayed. And the turtles way down in the pond were afraid. They trembled, they shook, but they came, they obeyed. From all over the pond they came swimming by dozens, whole families of turtles with uncles and cousins. And all of them stepped on the head of poor Mac. One after another they climbed up the stack. Then Yertle the turtle was perched up so high he could see 40 miles from his throne in the sky. "Hooray!" shouted Yertle. "I'm king of the trees, I'm king of the birds, and I'm king of the bees. I'm king of the butterflies, king of the air. Ah me, what a throne, what a wonderful chair. I'm Yertle the turtle, oh marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see." Then again, from below, in a great heavy stack, came a groan from the plain little turtle named Mac. "Your Majesty, please. I don't like to complain, but down here below we are feeling great pain. I know up on top you are seeing great sights, but down here on the bottom we too should have rights. We turtles can't stand it, our shells will all crack. Besides, we need food, we are starving," groaned Mac. "You hush up your mouth," howled the mighty King Yertle. "You have no right to talk over the world's highest ruler. I rule from the clouds, over land, over sea, and there's nothing, no nothing that's higher than me." But while he was shouting, he saw with surprise that the moon of the evening was starting to rise up over his head in the darkening skies. "What's that?" snorted Yertle. "Say, what is that thing that dares to be higher than Yertle the king? I shall not allow it. I'll go higher still. I'll build my throne higher. I can and I will. I'll call some more turtles. I'll stack them to heaven. I need about 5,607. But as Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand and started to order and give the command, that plain little turtle blew in the stack. That plain little turtle, whose name was just Mac, decided he'd taken enough, and he had. And that plain little lad got a little bit mad. And that plain little Mac did a plain little thing. He burped. And his burp shook the throne of the king. And Yertle the turtle, the king of the trees, the king of the air and the birds and the bees, the king of a house and a cow and a mule, well, that was the end of the Turtle King's rule. For Yertle, the king of all Salamasad, fell off his high throne and fell plunk in the pond. And today, the great Yertle, that marvelous he, is king of the mud. That is all he can see. And the turtles, of course, all the turtles are free, as turtles and maybe all creatures should be. Did you hear some of those? I heard a couple of them. I definitely heard hyperbole in there, right? And I also heard another one that I forgot to mention in the beginning. What do we call it when we hear words that are really sounds that we make and we spell them the same way they sound on the paper? That's right. Onomatopoeias. You're right. At the end, King Yertle, he fell from the sky and plunk, in the water he fell. Plunk is an onomatopoeia. So that was the one that I missed. Did you hear other ones? Make sure you tell your moms, your dads, your brothers and sisters about all the ones that you heard, okay? All right, I'll see you later, guys.